Hello class. I'm Shane Garcia. So what we're going to be going over today is what is Pokemon. Obviously, we've all heard of Pokemon before and kind of the impact it has towards our youth and probably us as adults that we grew up in the age of when Pokemon essentially just started out in the early to mid to late 90s. So hopefully you learned something from Pokemon and you could take this and be able to pass the quiz that will be presented at the end of class through a link, or you can email me or get the link so that you can finish the class. And so I know, so I could take away what you learned from this course. All right, so the origins of Pokemon. Pokemon was created in Japan by a man. Excuse me if I mess this up. Satoshi Tajiri in the February of 1996. 1996. It started out as a video game. A little backstory about the creator. He was actually autistic, and he grew up in the outskirts of Tokyo, where there was a little bit more farmland, and he enjoyed actually picking up Pokemon. I mean, Pokemon, picking up creatures like bugs, rodents, snakes and things like that. And that's kind of what really inspired him. Later on in high school, he actually was really into video games. So he kind of added both ideas of his love for video games and his love for creatures growing up to kind of come up with the concept of Pokemon. Um, he actually created his own company, his own magazine called Game Freak. If you ever look at Pokemon games, that Game Freak icon actually comes up on the game. I actually didn't know this before doing research on the individual who created Pokemon and kind of the origins of Pokemon. Cool thing about it, obviously, I'm pretty sure any of us who have kids or are in the mid 20s to 30s have seen an episode of Pokemon and kind of understand what it's about. It's actually one of the most popular TV shows and movie franchises in history. It's second to Mario in the country of Japan, and it also has the most popular trading card game in the world. Obviously, Pokemon cards. A little bit about Pokemon cards. Obviously, it started off with 151 Pokemon cards, and now there's thousands of different Pokemon cards, and the game has uh, went from a simple game to a more complex game. It's played worldwide. There's actually championships with these Pokemon cards that actually bring in thousands of dollars, big high stake tournaments, and world championships. So it's actually quite still popular. And in the late 90s, early 2000s, this was kind of just like what was in at that time. I'm going on to the television show. Television show, like I said, started late 90s and is actually present today. Actually, a few months ago was actually when the main character Ash Ketchum, which I'll talk about later, actually got written off the show. But there's over 1,000 episodes of Pokemon. There's multiple movies. One of my earliest memories was actually going to Pokemon, the first movie, where you actually got a trading card that was specialized to the movie, and I actually saw that Pokemon card today. The plot of sorry, go back. The plot of Pokemon. The main characters, obviously Ash Ketchum, as you see in this picture, and his sidekick Pokemon Pikachu. Their goal was just to explore the world of Pokemon, make friends, catch as many Pokemon as possible, do Pokemon battles, which I'll talk about later, and earn badges to get it. That was actually called the Pokemon League, and the different types of leagues that assisted of that, where they had to earn badges to enter the main tournament to see if they're the Pokemon master of that league. But the plot of the show is just him and his sidekick trying to become the best Pokemon trainer of all time and to try to catch as many different Pokemon as possible. I actually thought it's a pretty good storyline. It's kind of what you see like a novella. Kind of it bases off the start and it keeps on going forward, and all the whole series could actually be based off of the first episode going forward to the modern day Pokemon show that's still showing in 2023. What are Pokemon? Obviously, by looking at the picture, they're kind of these weird type of animal creatures, which essentially that's what they are. When you look it up on the internet, it's their own geno, but essentially they are just Pokemon that they're just animals that have special abilities like water attacks, provided by different elements like water, fire, ground, and they have different type of weaknesses that kind of when they battle, they could actually, there's pros and cons of the battle, which kind of makes it more interesting for the series to see how these Pokemon trainers make their Pokemon to kind of best fit for to beat someone in a Pokemon battle. Like I said, they started off with 150 Pokemon. Now there's over 1,000 different Pokemon, and to be honest, some of them are pretty pretty crazy. Some of them are based off of toasters, TVs, cell phones, you name it. There's Pokemon based off of whatever that is. I think they kind of just ran out of ideas, so they started just making different Pokemon to kind of keep the show going, I guess. A lot of the Pokemon are built up of three different evolutions. One of my favorite being a Charmander that evolves into a Charmeleon, who evolves into this final form of Charizard. Each form they kind of more mature and get a little bit stronger. So it's kind of just like how a chick turns into a chicken, essentially. Just keep on growing to like the final evolution to the adult form of what that creature is. Funny thing, Pokemon in Japan it's called Pocket Monsters. So Pokemon is just a shortened version of Pocket Monsters. So that's why it's called Pokemon. Oh, excuse me. While I go back. Um, so next thing is just Pokemon battles, right? So the main thing of this whole series is just kind of becoming the best Pokemon trainer to be the best at Pokemon battles. So kind of the basics of a Pokemon battle, if you ever play the video game or if you ever watch the show, is each Pokemon trainer can have up to six Pokemon, and basically they battle each other. They attack each other until one of the Pokemon fall, or they call it fainting. Um, in the fight, once the Pokemon trainer has zero Pokemon to battle with, that opposite Pokemon trainer who has the remaining well-bodied Pokemon is declared the winner, and that's kind of just the whole concept of the video game is kind of just becoming the best Pokemon trainers possible, and that's kind of what derives the Pokemon series itself and the Pokemon cards. So you have the virtual video game, you have the physical Pokemon cards that we see today. That some of them are worth up to $100,000 that are graded, kind of just how the past generations look at baseball cards or basketball cards, which is kind of unique. I kind of like how I guess the new generation look at like NFTs. That's the only thing I can think of, but that's kind of what Pokemon is. It's just a whole adventure series based off of these creatures that bond to their human-like trainers and just battle essentially to be the strongest Pokemon and to win the most badges and to help the trainer achieve his or her goals. Um, so from what we got here, just to recap, is just the series of Pokemon, how it became kind of a big sensation in the US. It came from Japan, started in 1996 with two video games, and those video games transferred into English that kind of hit US shelves in 1998. And from there on, from 1996 to now, it's still one of the biggest franchises, just like Star Wars and other franchises like Mario and Marvel and stuff like that we see today. But this is just something that the franchise is more based off of more younger, the younger youth. But I hopefully learned something from Pokemon battles to Pokemon to just like what the plot of Pokemon was. To just understand that it's a big franchise as a television show, it has Pokemon cards, and it also has video games, and kind of just a little bit inside of what the origin is of Pokemon. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, and I'll be able to answer any questions for you.